Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about the videos? The paid request this time for Elliott. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the last two episodes of Firefly, episodes 13 and 14. Show didn't last that long because Fox didn't know how to market it. They re-edited, or not re-edited, but they reworked the episodes, as in put them out of order. So even if you were following it, you might get confused. And I would say overall, I didn't mind the show, mainly because of the cast and the way the cast interacted with each other. It definitely what kept the show to become this cult show throughout the years. Nathan Fillion made for a good lead. You had some interesting side characters like Adam Baldwin's character, or Zoe, the second command, and her hubby Wash, played by, oh my god, how do I forget his name? He was in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Has been a lot of other stuff. And it's one of those things where there's that curiosity of what the potential could have been. Because the first season, you kind of work out what worked, what didn't work. Granted, as a show, I wish at times it was a bit more exciting, or which has maybe a little bit more action-packed at times. Some characters you don't really get to know much about, like the shepherd, the religious guy. You know, other than I guess some comic they did later on, there's this hints of this backstory he had, but we never get to fully get that showcased. I thought that the character Wash, I think that was his name. God, why can't I? Yeah, look him up because. God, what's his name? I know his name. Alan Tudyk. There you go. I wish Alan Tudyk was utilized a bit more. I wish he was showcased a little bit. I mean, he's in it, but I wish he just had much more of a, not front and center, but I think he was underutilized. I could see a lot less of Summer Glau, because to be honest, she did not impress me. I know she was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I'm just saying, on this show, her and her brother were the least interesting parts, and sadly, they got a lot of the shine. When I think Alan Tudyk and some others, I wish they had a bit more shine instead. Even the shepherd guy, the religious guy, I wish he had a bit more shine instead. But it was still a good cast that, for the most part, played off each other well. Like I said, just the Summer Glau and her doctor brother could not give a rat's ass about him. But anyway, getting back to these episodes. Episode 13, a bunch of prostitutes are in trouble because there's a guy that wants one of the women because he thinks one of the women has going to give birth to his baby. So the women want help, so they call the companion, Inara, the hooker with a heart of gold, who's on the Serenity crew. And Nathan Fillion decides, okay, we're going to help. Although he does say the line, "This distress signal, is it taking place in someone's pants?" Like I said, there's some fun lines, and I've said before, Joss Whedon, however you want to think of him as a person, he knew how to work a group of characters and have them interact with each other that seem a bit natural or a bit humorous but serious. He did that with the first Avengers. He did that with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He did that with this show. That was definitely Joss Whedon's specialty, and he accomplished that fairly well. So they decided to help, as they call it, the whores. I do like Adam Baldwin's delivery where he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, listen, I don't know who these folks are. I don't much care to. They're whores. I'm in. Adam Baldwin's a lot of fun. So Nathan Fillion goes undercover with this companion Nara to see how the bad guy ticks. He's got this type of laser gun type of thing. The leader of the Whores is Melinda Clark, and I knew I recognized this lady from somewhere. She's the female lead in Return of the Living Dead Part 3. If you see that movie, or if you see the cover with the zombie chick with all the piercings, that's Melinda Clark. And she's in this. So, man, okay, I knew I recognized her from something. And Nathan Fillion has a bit of hots for her and vice versa, and they sleep together. They're getting ready for this battle with the bad guys. Barricade for the fight. And the fight happens. The battle happens. Now, again, when the battles happen, it's nothing mind-blowing. It's nothing, for me, that got my blood pumping. And that's the thing. Like, for the most part, the action scenes are ideas a TV show. What more can you do on a TV show? But I'm just saying it's not as exciting or thrilling as other stuff. I guess serviceable is the right way to put it. It's interesting that during the battle, you never see what Adam Baldwin is doing. Because we see the setup where he's got all these guns and he tells the hooker, when one's done, you give me the other. Okay. But then it never goes back to him shooting or taking care of bad guys. I thought that was kind of a weird choice. And like I said, the action, I mean, it's nothing to run home about. It's fire, cut to a shot, someone falls off a horse. Fire, cut this shot. I mean, like an old school Western. This is supposed to be a Western in space. That's the whole motif. Spoiler alert, one leads to another. The one woman gives birth to the kid. The bad guy gets in to get the kid. They try to stop him. He shoots Melinda Clark, kills her. Nathan Fillion catches the bad guy. Seems like the type of guy that would have killed him right then and there, but he doesn't. Takes him for the mother to come in and then kill the guy. And then Nathan Fillion, of course, is sad because his woman died. They have a funeral ceremony for her, and then Inara, the companion, says she's going to leave the ship. Which they do reference a bit in the next episode, but nothing ever comes of that because the show was canceled. And that's kind of the thing when you watch the show is like, okay, Alan Tudyk, it feels like he wasn't on the show a whole lot. He's a good actor. That's disappointing. Okay, the Inara lady would never... Did she leave? Did she not leave? You don't get a summation, or I should say, conclusion to that story. The shepherd, unless you want to read a comic from whatever, you never know what his whole backstory was. Yeah, that's not the show's fault. It's just the fact that when you try to have this narrative that you're hoping will have, I don't know, a couple years, and then it goes up shit creek, then it's just kind of, when you watch it as a whole, it's just a lot of empty gaps that are just a bit annoying. Which maybe that's one of the reasons why usually with a show I like more self-contained episodes. Like the standalone episodes, The X-Files, or Culture at the Night Stalker, or even, old school Star Trek. Most of them are just kind of one-shots. I mean, the episode, like I said, there's some fun lines of dialogue. When Nathan Fillion is ready to sleep with the girl, they kiss, and he's like hesitating for a bit. And she's like, what? Just waiting to see if I pass out. Long story. That's a reference to a previous episode where he kissed a girl and she was a two-faced bitch that had this stuff that on her lips that knocked him out. The guy who played the villain was fine, but at the same time, nothing memorable. I don't recognize the actor. Like I say, the action scenes left a lot to be desired. They weren't really that memorable or exciting. There wasn't like a whole lot of exciting, cool firefights or cool tricks or fist fights or anything. So, like I said, left a bit to be desired. But like I said, for a lot of these episodes of the show, the interaction of the characters, for the most part, helped make it work. Alan Tudyk and the engineer lady trap these bad guys in the middle of one section, and but then at the same time he doesn't have a whole lot other than arguing with Zoe on whether to have kids or not, which you never get a conclusion to that whole bit of a story. So it was there to take it or leave it. And then episode 14, the last episode of the show, is definitely a Summer Glau episode, which was disappointing because, like I said, she is my least favorite character in the show. I get that the whole crux of the show, the underbelly, is this crew taking care of this brother and his sister, and his sister has been experimented on and pretty much become a weapon. And Summer Glau is wandering around. Apparently she's able to read people's minds, so she hears a little bit inner thoughts on each of the crew members. And at one point, they're scared of her and wondering what we could do. Because in her haze, she picks up what she thinks is a branch, but in reality is a gun. And the engineer lady, she mentions how in a previous episode, I forget, 3-4 episodes back, there was a firefight and Summer Glau was able to get a gun, like, eyes closed and shoot like 3-4 guys perfectly fine. And then Nathan Fillion goes, well, she must be a reader, as in kind of a psychic phenomena type of thing. Now, I would say that the crux of this episode that was fun for me, because I did like the episode, is a bounty hunter arrives called Jubal Early. It's played by Richard Brooks. Yes, Richard Brooks. People are like, who's that? This is an actor I do enjoy. I've seen him in quite a few stuff. He played Peter Bird's football buddy, Rhino, in Wes Craven's Shocker. He's the one who helps take care of the power at the end when Peter Bird is doing his thing. He was also one of the leads in G vs. E, the short-lived TV show with Clayton Rohner that didn't last too long. He's featured in other stuff too, but I always like Richard Brooks. I thought he did a good job here, where he plays a very cynical, conniving, but very, not monotone, but kind of steady at his job, where he finds he knocks Nathan Fillion out. He's really good at fighting. He finds the engineer lady, and he's like talking nonchalantly about stuff and goes, you ever been raped? Now, listen, I don't want to do it. I need to do a job, but if you force me, if you upset the plan, I'm going to do that. You're not going to like it. But if you want to upset the plan, just turn around and put your arms behind your back. Like the way he played it and the dialogue he was given just made him like, ooh, like he is a good potential great villain if he was utilized more and more, if we got to see him more and more. And the way he talks philosophical to like Summer Glau's brother, the medic, the doctor, and Richard Brooks says, oh, this gun's functional. See, the plan is to not shoot you, but to get the girl. But see, here's the thing, if there's no girl, there's just like that empty room over there. No girl. It's empty. Pretty much how he's going to improvise, and even throws the guy, you can mess with me, but I just shoot you and go up and rape that lady friend of yours. And you better believe that I'm not kidding. I'm not. Just the way Richard Brooks plays it, I thought he played it very well and very sinister, but not mustache twirling as well. I thought he was really potentially an interesting character. Now it does falter a bit where Summer Glau starts talking through the comms and she makes up this story that she's become part of the ship, and because of this power she has, she's able to know a bit about Richard Brooks' backstory. And then Richard Brooks starts believing in it, and then it gets to a point where it seems like the way this character's been set up so far, he would just easily shot the brother, wounded him, shot him in the head already. Like the way he talks, I mean, he just threatened the girl that he was going to rape her. He's very kind of cool, calculating. The fact that he's taking this long to talk to a voice in the air and like giving so many, I'll shoot him. I will shoot him. I'm like, shoot him. Like, you seem like the guy that would have already shot him already. So I thought that's where the episode kind of faltered a bit. And spoiler alert, Summer Glau says, I'm here, you can go ahead and tape me, I'll go with you. As he's going toward to find her, the brother attacks him, gets wounded in the leg. Richard Brooks keeps going, goes up, finds out that Summer Glau is in his ship. That's where she's been speaking from. So he goes up there, but Nathan Fillion's waiting for him, hits him, and the guy floats away into space. Nathan Fillion welcomes Summer Glau back. They welcome her back into the team. Meanwhile, Richard Brooks is floating in space, and he's looking around and goes, well, here I am. I think Joss Whedon has mentioned that, yes, he does think that character did live. I guess in comics, he popped up later in comic books. But yeah, it's a shame that we didn't get to see more Richard Brooks and see this character developed, and he could have been a great villain or one of the great villains on this show and consistently throughout, and that's why it would have been nice to see more dialogue with him, because he doesn't really have dialogue with Nathan Fillion. Pretty much fights, beats up Nathan Fillion, he has dialogue with the Simon, the doctor brother character, Summer Glau. It would have been nice to see what his conversation with Nathan Fillion. Richard Brooks and Nathan Fillion, I think they could have played off each other very well. I wish they had built that up. I wish they had at least some part of that in this episode, but sadly they didn't. I thought that was a missed opportunity. I mean, I would have preferred him talking to Nathan Fillion about philosophical, not the brother character. Like, you're the captain of the ship. You know how the ship is. You don't show me. And again, I just think Richard Brooks and Nathan Fillion back and forth would have been much better. And then it could be like Alan Tudyk in the spacesuit. Surprise, motherfucker. Then kicks Richard Brooks off. Or any other characters. Adam Baldwin. Someone else. But yeah, like I said, Richard Brooks and Nathan, I would have preferred that combination than... Because like I said, I don't care about Summer Glau, and I don't care about the brother character, the Simon character. And I like... Nathan Fillion, Adam Baldwin, these characters are more interesting to me. Or even, again, the shepherd guy. Which I keep forgetting his name. Ron Glass, I believe his name. I would have preferred that more. But that's just me. And that's Firefly. That's the end of the Firefly Funhouse. No, the Firefly show. And like I said, while I do think because of limitations of the show, they couldn't do as much in terms of effects or action sequences, but the characters, for the most part, some of the recognizable actors, they made it fun enough of a watch. To a point I do see why got a bit of a cult following. I mean, I don't know if I loved it so much I would get the DVD or watch the show again, but it was nice to see at least one time. So, with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you guys later.